Hello everybody, welcome back after so many days, and here we are live again working on the same project. I did work on this previously too, like in these 5 days. I kept working on this, but I think this is the right time to just simply get some more things implemented here. So here I am. Alrighty, there seems to be good network right now, so let's just simply continue with the thing. I hope I'm audible right now. Am I or not? Yeah. So what's gonna be the goal here? That's gonna be pretty simple. That is implementing this multi-selection. And when it comes to implementing this multi-selection, so first of all, of course, we are clicking down. So there are two things. First of all, we are clicking and then we are selecting. This particular functionality was already implemented. So this is the first thing. The second thing is that when you click on the shape, and if you click on the same shape, only that is selected, so you can just keep clicking on the shapes one by one, so they just simply keep getting selected. So the first event that's gonna be pointer down, right? So ultimately we'll have to think about all these things only, then only it's gonna be possible. So the first event is the pointer down, but pointer down is not enough. Of course, when the pointer is down, what do? We hit test, and after that, once we get the hit shape, we just make that shape selected shape. So ultimately this is gonna be the overall flow, that whenever the pointer is down, so we get the hit we hit test, and after that we get hit shape. Once we get the hit shape, we make that shape as a selected shape. I mean, we just simply save that as selected shape. So this is what happens, but this is not it, because apart from this particular thing, if we just add shift plus down, at that time what we do, that we enable multi selection. So at that time our goal is going to be to just simply add many shapes, as simple as that. So this is what we have to keep in mind, and then try to implement this particular feature. So let's see how it's gonna be going on. Apart from this particular thing, we'll ask AI as well exactly what it says, and just after that, once everything's clear, we'll actually continue. So like I have selected one, so this functionality was already implemented. If I click shift and then this, and then this, so ultimately what is happening, that many shapes are being kind of selected. And apart from this particular thing, there's this what there is a top level border that we have, not even border, sort of a rectangle that just simply covers it all. And we have even this bottom level rectangles as well around the shapes. The only difference is that if you just simply select that, you will see these resize handles as well. But if you just simply select many, so you will not see these resize handles, rather the resize handles are at the top level. Oh, so this is how it just simply happens. Let's go ahead. How to implement many selection or multiple selection in Excalidraw clone projects. Let's see what it actually says regarding this. So since you already built selection, resizing, panning, yeah, that's right, these are the things we built. Instead of selected shape ID and string or null, it actually accepts these, used to actually. Then we can actually create an array of strings, so it will actually create many strings, many IDs. And after that, if you want to get a particular selected shape, or if you want to get selected shapes, so we can just simply filter, and as we are filtering, we will just simply check whether the particular ID belongs to the selected shape ID or not. In that case, we will get the selected shapes. These are the modes that we have. There are only three ways to ways the selection change. First one is click a shape, so click B, select B, and this is how it just simply goes on. And when it comes to selected shape IDs, we have to just simply attach it there, or assign to selected shape IDs, and that's fine. When you just simply click only on one, so that's gonna be only one shape. Second one is control plus command click. So click A and click C. So ultimately, if selected, remove, else add. So in our case, what we will do, even here, if we click control, nothing really happens. So when we click shift, at that time, it actually selects many. So the second thing that it is suggesting, that if selected, remove that, else just simply add that when we add suppose shift plus click. And the next thing is that function toggle, that's sort of the same type of function that it is giving us. And then drag selection, forget about the drag selection, we'll implement it later, but overall this is how it's gonna be going on. And you probably already have selection box, this while dragging selection rectangle. We still have to work on many things, so we'll see exactly what happens. Let's just simply go through it one properly, then we'll just simply start working on this particular feature. So this much we covered. Drag selection, simply everything inside becomes selected, so whatever is inside that particular dragging area becomes the part of selected. Selection rectangle, you probably already have selection box is gonna be XY, while dragging render selection rectangle. Okay, that's fine. Pointer up, so when it comes to pointer up, selected shape ID is gonna be equals to the shapes we have to filter, and we have to check intersects. So when we get a shape, we have to pass the selection box, and we'll pass shape, get a shapes bound. That's right, sort of right. So ultimately we are gonna be sending the bounds. On the basis of that thing, we are gonna get the filter disconnection connectivity again, but okay, never mind. When multiple, so ultimately we have to draw a rectangle bounding box becomes union all bounds. So what we actually have to do, that we have min x, min y, and all these things. So at that time, shape of selected shapes, of course we are gonna be getting the bounds of a shape. Once we got the bounds of a shape, we are gonna be getting the max value of all, and then once that is done, then we have the selection box, as simple as that. And apart from this particular thing, moving when pointer down inside the selection, drag start, dx dy, mouse every selected shape, shape of this, for shape of selected shapes, so shape.dx plus d. What is this? No special logic, this is mainly for shape x and shape y. What does this do? Move every selected shape. Okay, it is mainly used for moving every selected shape. So when it comes to moving that, so we have to just simply get the dx and dy, and we have to add it there. The another way could be dx and dy. That makes sense as well. We'll see exactly how it can be implemented. This is the most people over complicate. Imagine the whole selection is one big rectangle. When user drags the right handle, you are not resizing each individually, you are scaling the entire group. Compute old selection bounds, compute new selection bounds, and then old selection bounds, new selection bounds, and exactly how much that's been scaled. On the basis of that thing we scale. Now every shape gets transformed, that's right. So this seems to be a simpler one, but this is not, because we have to select many, then we have to move many, we have to resize many of them, so it's gonna be something big. Hit testing, when multiple selected pointer, first check resize handles, bounding box, any selected shape, any other shape, canvas. Never test unselected shape before the current selection, or you lose the selection when client when clicking inside. Okay, draw scene. Alright, it is just simply I'd recommend for given the it turns out that we'll have to work on most of the things. So first of all, let's just simply work on selecting them. Once we worked on selecting them, then we'll work on so ultimately when it comes to shapes, so we have to select the shapes first of all. So we should be able to select the shapes. Second, we already have the logic of bounding box, so bounds for 1. Now we have to get the bounds for all as well, depending on that, and then we have to of course render that and all. So this is how it's gonna be going on. At least this is what gonna be the first goal, and later we'll see what happens. Coming back to this is the logic that I had initially. That simply means it simply checks for 1, but the thing is that when pointer down selection happens, at that time again I'm gonna be getting the point. I'm gonna get the shift key as well, whether it's actually being clicked or not. Then I'm gonna be clicking the shift as well, right? Now there are 3 cases. The first case is that I'm simply clicking, right? When I'm just simply clicking, at that time I don't really need to worry about anything. It will just work as expected the way this has been written. But if shift is clicked, then that's gonna be different. So let's handle that scenario first. I think that would be better. Apart from this particular thing, now instead of selecting shape, we are actually gonna be selecting use selected shape IDs and use set selected shape IDs. So we are gonna be storing the selected shape IDs and set selected shape IDs. This is nothing but the state as and the setup for that. Okay, it mainly comes from Zoostime. This seems to be sort of fine. And canvas renderer, this should actually come from here, right? Yeah, seems to be okay. Going ahead, so what do we do here? First of all, what I'm gonna focus on that if shift key has been clicked, in that case I have to handle it different way, otherwise I have to handle it different way, as simple as that. But when I click, let's see what were the steps that it was suggesting to us. So first of all, we have already done this creates. When we click, we have to just simply, when we do this, we have to do this. It turns out we have to get it done anyhow, toggle selection and all. Let's see. So this is the first thing, and the second thing is that shift hasn't. At that time, what do we have to do? If the shift is clicked, so what is the first thing? First of all is that we have to test the hit testing, whether the shape is actually being hit or not, right? And yeah, that's right. So we need to, whenever we click, we need to have what? Selected shapes, because they are needed for all. Const selected shapes. Now the question comes is that how will I get that? So shapes dot when it comes to getting the selected shape, so we actually have to filter, and of course I'm gonna be getting the shape from here, and if it becomes true, then it's going to be filtered. So the simple way can be that selected shape IDs, selected shape IDs, set selected shape IDs. Hopefully it's gonna be alright. Coming back to this, so we got all the selected shapes. Okay, once we got all the selected shapes, so what's the next thing? as soon as I clicked down, I already have all the selected shapes. They are the previous ones, not this current one. So this selected shape logic should actually belong to the even before that const and to hit test. What do we need? Here we are. To check the hit test, to get the shape at a position, we need the point, we need the shapes. We already have these two. Selected shape, selected shape, this should definitely be optional. Yeah, so selected shape is optional there. In that case, how am I gonna be checking? I have suppose these selected shapes already, so I have their IDs, and now I'm gonna click on this. So as I click on this, so first of all I have to check whether shift is clicked or not, and after that as soon as I click, so I have to check whether there is a shape or not, and once that is done, so we have to just simply push. That simply means const hit shape, and that's gonna be get shape at position. That's exactly gonna be the same. We just need to pass the point and the shapes, and it should be done. Again, everything is done. So we have the hit shape, and apart from this particular thing, there could be a case when there is only one selected shape. So we have to check this thing as well. So we have selected shapes, const selected shape just one, and if selected shapes selected shapes dot length, if that's triple equals to 1, in that case selected shapes at 0th index, that's gonna be the selected shape, otherwise I'll have none. So this is the value of the selected shape that I have, and if I have the value of selected shape, and that's actually gonna be the part of else statement, that's fine, because we are handling the logic of shift key in here, so that's fine as well. Apart from this particular thing, we are, so if I have hit shape, okay, once I have the hit shape, then what do I have to check? Once I have the hit shape, I have to check whether it actually already belongs to that or not, because if it actually belongs to that, we have to toggle that as well. Insane level of logic, but it's good to write. Okay, so if shift key is there and hit shape is we have, then I have to check and selected shape ID includes hit shape dot ID. If it includes, that means we have to toggle it. So we have to remove it from where? We have to remove it from selected shape ID. So toggle selection. So if selected shape includes this, then set selected shape ID, get the IDs, filter the values. Otherwise just simply add the values there. In my case, the simplest logic would be set selected shape ID. What do I have to do? I have to remove in this particular case. So ID should not be equals to hit shape dot ID. Set selected shape IDs, we are going to be getting the previous values that has implicitly any type. something is up. What is that? Selector shape IDs. We are sort of trying to do the same thing, but when it comes to this selected shape, let me see. Selected shape IDs, it does take the updater. Once it actually takes that, it says the values. Selected shape IDs, if that is equals to a function, in that case I just simply call that updater, and that updater actually gets state.selected shape IDs, otherwise it returns the updater. That's fine. Okay. In that case, probably I need to destructure this previous IDs, and nope, I'm missing something. Now just a minute, this is wrong. Use set selected shape IDs. Now this is fine. And if I actually come here, yeah, this is gonna work. So ultimately we are gonna be getting the previous IDs. Once we got the previous IDs, so previous IDs dot filter ID, and ID should not be equals to shape dot ID, just like this. So we got the shift, we got the selected shape. In else case, if hit or not, that doesn't really matter. But we actually have to do that when I click shift. What am I missing? It's gonna be a bit complicated if we already have the hit shape. Then only this logic is gonna run. So as I clicked on something and we have that hit shape, okay, it does make sense. If we don't really have the hit shape, I'm gonna return. If we don't really have that, we are just simply gonna return, and probably this is what we need to keep there. So if we don't have the hit shape, so in that case, set selected shape IDs, that's gonna be an empty array. That simply means there are gonna be no shapes, because the hit shape is not that there. And the answer is wrong. We don't have to go with this way, because if I selected one, even if I'm clicking out, nothing's happening. If shift key is selected, in that case I have to have this logic inside this. Okay, we have to have this logic. So if I selected a shift key, at that time no need to do anything as such. So that thing probably needs to be here. I don't know how many times I place it. But once I click the shift key, either I'm gonna toggle the value or I'm just simply gonna remove that. There are only two things. So if it just a sec, we don't know that hit shape exists. That's right. So when I clicked on shift and when I'm clicking on empty space, at that time what is happening? At that time nothing's happening, so it's just simply returning. So if we, in here I can say, if we don't have the data shape, I'm just simply gonna return from here. But what could be the better approach? Let me do one thing. It's gonna be taking no doubt too much time. I'm actually gonna ask AI to write the logic, and then we'll see what it writes, and on the basis of that thing we'll be refactoring this. Can you rewrite the logic? Let's see. Let's see. At least we got something, because this way we'll actually have to go through a lot of things, and if it actually does the job, then no problem as such. As per the need, we are gonna be changing the code for sure, but let's see what it has done. There are still errors, no doubt they are gonna be, because the data structure is not the same as I expected. But instead of writing the code, at least we are gonna get some hint as well as help from here. Coming back to this, we have shift plus click toggle selection. Okay, let's see. So as soon as we click, we are getting a shape, hit shape. Okay, that's fine. Shift plus click toggle shape. Shift plus key. Whenever we don't have any hit shape, at that time selection box still exists there. That is right. So we'll be just simply returning it. And as for this and this, let's get it. Once we have the shift key selected includes this, we are gonna be filtering it. Otherwise, we are gonna be just simply adding it. That's simple, straightforward. So if that already belongs to the selected shape IDs, that's gonna be filtered. Ultimately that's gonna be removed, sort of toggled. Otherwise that's just simply gonna be the part of the selected shape IDs. We are invalidating and returning from here. Sort of does the job. Then empty canvas. This is gonna be interesting. At least this way, whatever we are doing, that's gonna be a bit faster. So if there is no hit shape, in that case, of course, and if shift is not clicked, in that case we are gonna be just simply returning from here as well. Going ahead, this is gonna be interesting point. Select clicked shape. So a shape is already clicked and shift is not clicked, and I didn't click on empty space, so I clicked on what? In that case I actually clicked on shape, that's right, and then I have to set the shape IDs. As for the selected shape, I'm not really setting this, that's fine. So that simply means I clicked on a shape that is a hit shape, and we are just simply gonna do what? In that case, if something's already selected, so suppose here we are back again. These many things are selected. Now I clicked on this, so only that got selected. So if we are not clicking shift, so only one shape can be selected at a time. That's fine. So this is what we are doing here. Going ahead, we have preview shape structure. So over here what is happening, that if you are actually selecting many, so you are invalidating here. If you are clicking in the empty canvas, you are invalidating. Invalidating is invalidating the previous shapes, so the new shapes need to be rendered. Coming back to this, over here we are just simply selecting on one, so that is why we have the preview shape. We got the bounding box. Once we got the bounding box, then we can continue from here. So if there is only one shape, what is the next thing? So if there is only one shape, we'll check the type of the shape. So once we actually got the hit shape, and then we are going to check the type, that if the type is text, then of course we are going to start the timer. Not the timer, sort of, we'll just simply get the timing saved here. And this is the situation when we have click the shape, click the shape, that's right. Okay, fine. And after that, once we have a preview shape, get resize handle at point, and we are gonna be just simply getting sort of the resize handle exactly where we clicked. And if we have the resize handle, start resize handle interaction, this is gonna be doing something. So let's, it turns out I don't really have it here. No suggestions at all. Great. Start resize interaction. Where is this coming from? It just takes the resize handles, bounce, preview shape, hit shape, and start resize interaction. I'm not getting the meaning of it. So what I had here initially, to check that, I have to go to the main branch. Git stash, we are gonna be stashing everything. Git check out main. So, well, it should be okay. Yeah. Git stash list. Git stash. The thing is that why isn't this going back to its previous state? We are okay, it doesn't even exist. So we have to go to use selection when it comes to main. So the name was joined here earlier, that's fine. And we had this, it turns out we didn't have that. So we were sort of interesting. Okay, if that is so, in that case let's just simply go back to what? Git checkout refactor. We are back here again, but git stash pop. Okay, here we are. So if we don't have resize handle, or if we have resize handle, then gonna be tricky. We need to have both the things. In that case, let's just simply reopen this. There, that works better. And probably in this one we have to go to switch to the main branch. Okay, coming back, we are looking for in this case it's gonna be problematic. We cannot really open it twice. That's the thing. So what is the another way if this is not possible? We can actually push it to GitHub, another branch. Yeah, that could be done as well. Or the another way could be that creating a copy of it. But creating the copy means we need to open main branch just side by side, so that once we start sort of changing one thing, the another thing remains the same, and hence we don't really need to worry about switching the branches. As simple as that. So we have draw app, and time to open draw app. We actually need to wait for a while. It is still being copied. Well, I thought this particular feature would be easier to implement, but it doesn't seem to be like that. So we actually have to be cautious while working on this and get this thing implemented. And I think this is one of the major things remaining. Once the multi-selection is done, sort of the things are already done. But multi-selection is really important. Without this, it's something's definitely gonna be missing. Okay, so we have these two. Draw app is here, and apart from this particular thing, we have draw copy in here. So two VS Code instances are gonna be running here. This is the copy section, so let's just simply darken it. Well, this won't work. PEACOCK. Okay, this should be enough to just simply get the idea. Coming back to this, we have to bun install, and I think the same thing I need to do in here as well. Bun install. Let's wait. So ultimately what is happening right now, we have only functionality of selecting one shape at a time. We have to make it select multiple shapes at the same time. So that's what we are actually working on. It should not be hard actually, but it's definitely gonna be trickier. And having said that, I've never implemented this. This is the first time I'm just simply gonna be doing it. So we'll see how it goes. 629. Why is this taking time? Alrighty, the first one is done. So as it is already done, I'm already on the refactor branch, so no problem. In this particular section, get status, get add, get comment, add everything. This is just a normal commit, so let's not worry about this. Well, that's wrong. git check out main, we have to move to the main branch. And even when it comes to git branch, it turns out we have many, we are on the main. Coming back to this, we have to focus on this. So over here, whatever the flow we are following, we have to go with the same flow. So first of all, what we actually did that we checked the type of the selected shape. If the shape was already selected, then we hit test. If we test does not exist, then we are just simply returning, and we are doing it on a wrong branch. This is the copy one, this is the main one. So the copied one should have a color, that's gonna be called green, that's better, and the main one should be just normal one. So what we are doing here, that in this particular case, as we are working with many, so just change the way we work with the things. So again, this is gonna be running if we don't even click shift. So first of all, I'll check whether the hit test has, a particular shape has been clicked or not. So I should have done the same thing in here as well, that we are checking the hit test after setting it. If the selected shape existed, it could have been just below that, but never mind. If the shape is already selected and we are selecting the same shape again, then that could be problematic, and that is why we had the selected shape in here. We were just simply passing it. Coming back to this, if hit test does not exist, then that is okay, but if hit test does exist, then what do we have to do? The current ID should be part of selected shape ID, keeping in mind that shape hasn't been clicked, and after that hit shape is nothing but the preview shape that needs to be rendered. That is also fine. We have the bounce in here, so once we have the bounce in at this particular time, we can start this as well. So over here we got the selected shape. If it was actually hit, in that case selected shape IDs. If not hit shape, that simply means we didn't hit the shape. In that case we have to do this. If we actually hit the shape, so there are two ways: either toggle the value, but toggling only happens when we click the shift, and that particular thing is already being handled over here. That's fine. So now if I normally click either on a shape and so I actually have to check whether the selected shape actually exists there or not, because if that does, then we have to do something. So as for the selected shapes, it's not never even getting that. So this logic is not really complete. Okay, as this logic is not complete, what we are doing over here, that if the selected shape already existed, then only we are setting this, and in that case we have to check whether the selected shape already exists or not by default, right? So whenever we are clicking down, it could be possibility that there is a selected shape. But even if there is a selected shape and we clicked somewhere else, then won't that be problematic? It will be if the selected shape is not text. Let's have it in here as well. So const selected shapes, that's right. So shapes dot what do we have to do here? when it comes to selected shapes, we have to just simply find the value shape. So we select the shape of selected shape and I'm clicking down. So when I click down, even if I don't have the selected values, I have to return from there, shouldn't I? If I don't have selected shape actually, or probably it can be selected shapes as well. In that case, I have to just simply return from here. So it's like I actually clicked on an empty screen and everything's normal. Coming back to this, if we do have selected shapes, then what is the type of that? Okay, so selected shape ID is let's keep it like this. If we have selected shapes and find returns only one, that's right. So instead of finding, we'll filter. So when we are filtering, so we are gonna be getting all the selected shapes and the job is done. So we got the selected shape. As we got the selected shape and I clicked on an empty screen or something, at that time what do I have to do? Okay, so one more thing I can do in here, that is keeping it at the top somewhere here. So the hit shape dot type is gonna be this. I have to make sure that the hit shape actually exists, so I can make it optional in here. It simply means that it does exist. If it exists, then okay, start the null timer, otherwise set the value to performance.now, otherwise do not. And as for the sequence of it, probably I is gonna be just simply giving it the right sequence. So far so good, we've got the bounce as well, and once we got the bounce, get a resize handle point. What this does, it just simply gives us the resize handle point. That's fine. If I had the resize handle point, I'm just trying to do this, but I don't think this needs to be done. There could be some better way. Coming back to this, what are we doing here? This is the most simplest version, when we are just simply selecting one. On the other hand, we are now trying to select many. So if not a resize, then of course we have to invalidate this. And if I don't even have a resize handle, that simply means we have to set everything to null, or select, that can be select, invalidate. That makes sense. Are we doing it in here? So let me have this logic in here. We'll go through the remaining one later. And even I'd like to copy and paste this stuff from here. Alrighty, this seems to be sort of done, but not quite. This should actually be the ID, so we have to fix this. And if you think that this is all over, so it's just the starting, because we actually have to focus on many things. But coming back to this, we have this reference over here because this is in working state, but this one is not. One day. Again, it's gonna be loaded after a while. Coming back to this, so this is done. Oh, we have more logic in here. Great. I never expected. But we have a little more logic. That is move selection. this is far better than that anyway. So the remaining logic is actually gonna be coming here. Logic. Okay, so we have done this much. We have to fix this, so let's just work on the state as well. So if I go to hooks and the pointer, in the pointer state, what am I doing? I'm not storing the IDs, or should I be? I think whenever we are drawing, we cannot draw many things at the same time. So the preview shape can be only one at a time. Preview shape, no. It can be the combination of many as well. We have to fix it. My PC is stuck. As expected, the VS, both the instances, they got closed. For some reason, it was unable to start that, but okay, never mind. We have to fix this. There can be many preview images now. So instead of writing the code, I'm just simply gonna give it to the AI, and hopefully it's gonna just simply change the code. I think there can be many preview shapes now. Then we what do? That simply means if I'm changing this, I'll have to change the whole logic at many places. Don't really have any other option. There can be many preview shapes now. When we select size, yes, and be updated. Let's see what is actually returns. So ultimately, it should be sort of converting the shapes IDs, preview shapes into an array, but we'll see. Let me just simply copy and paste and have a look at this. Okay, so let's see what all the changes here. So we have interaction shape, we have this interaction shape, type none. Preview shape is still the same. That's insane. Why? There can be many shapes, that's fine, but there can be many preview shapes as well, can't they be? We'll see. It's been 15. I'm just gonna take a break for 5 minutes. After that, I'll be back and then continue from here, or 3 minutes even. That's gonna be enough. Probably within 5 minutes, I'll be back. I'll see you soon. Hello everybody, welcome back, and let's see what all we can do in here. So what were we discussing that just a sec, it has changed something. Interaction. So the original and the preview, we were not expecting this. Initially we had it like this. Preview can be this and that. Now when it returned us the current result, there is interaction shapes. And there can be key in the value. Well, we are not really planning to use the things like that. Coming back to this, the thing was simple, that we get many shapes, right? True. And this preview shape is used for what? We only had it here. Do we have it somewhere else? Okay, we don't really have it. That's fine. In that case, selected shape is just gonna do the job. So we have shapes, and it turns out that this preview shape is gonna be part of all. So whether we are moving, resizing, there should be a preview shape and the ID of the preview shape. It got changed quite a bit because the way we implemented this is not quite the same. Okay, so what's the way? We don't have active shape ID, we have just this, and this is the interaction shape. So interaction shape is nothing but this. So we have the bounds, we have the shapes, and those shapes are nothing but the interaction shapes, and there's gonna be nothing but the ID and preview shape. So in this I'll have objects, they'll have the ID and their values. Okay, even my current logic is not optimized for this. Earlier I was using what? Coming back to this, I didn't really have a look at when I actually changed this, but that was my mistake. We were having things like this. So we had the, now where is this coming from? Yeah, so we had the active shape ID, and right now of course we don't really need the active shape ID because there's not just one ID, and I mean one shape. So we have to change this, and ultimately this use pointer state, right? It should be storing the interaction ref, and from the interaction ref I'm gonna be getting all of this. So earlier it was storing the active shape ID. Now it needs to store the active shape IDs. Earlier it was storing the preview shape. Probably now it needs to store the preview shapes, and active shape ID is the shape that is sort of selected, and as for the preview shape, so this is mainly used for changing the value. So whenever we are drawing something, suppose this case, it's on pointer down, not really this, on pointer move. So whenever we are moving at that time we are changing the value of this, and we are passing the end, creating the shape. Once the shape is created, we are changing the shape by this and then invalidating the overlay. So here we are. We need to have two things here, but let's see whether that's the right way or not. If I am working on multiple selection, does that mean now I need to have active IDs and preview shapes? Let's see. Once you support multi-selection, you should stop thinking in terms of single active shape. Okay, that simply means we'll have to refactor the whole logic. Crazy. So interaction shape, the ID and the preview shape of that particular ID, that's fine. This is essentially equivalent to this, that's right. For each selected shape during drawing, you still only have one preview shape, just this. So during drawing, moving, suppose I user selected 3 rectangles. So when writing, you don't modify actual shapes until the pointer is released. So that is right. So we just simply maintain the value in here. So whenever we move, we'll have this kind of data in there, and we just using preview shape, we'll enter the value. Just as soon as we release the pointer, we just simply save the data now. So let's do one thing. Give me the updated version. Who will just write here? And as per the way we are storing these refs over here, we'll actually have to change the logic as well, and almost wherever we are using that. So let's see how it looks like right now. So we have the preview shape this time. One preview shape just simply stores the ID and the shape, and if we are drawing, we'll only have one preview shape. Otherwise we are gonna be having previews. Previews sounds good actually. It will actually have many shapes and all. So this is how it's gonna be going on. Sort of fine for now. The only thing is that when I have only one preview shape, so it can be this or this. At the time we don't have the ID. I don't think that is even required. Yeah, that's fine. So let's talk about this logic in here. First of all, we don't need this. If there is no resize handle, so at that time we have to set it to select. If there is actually set to select, so what's the we need to store the bounds. Okay, we need to store the bounds, and we need to store the previews. Now this is interesting part, because as I'm doing this, so even if I don't have it, I have to store the previews and bounds and all. So previews, that's gonna be sort of an array. Bounds are definitely gonna be there, and apart from this particular thing, type is select, that is fine, and that is it. But the question is, this preview itself will have two things. It will have the ID shape.id. It will have the preview shape as well. So sort of like this. So I can even name that shape. So this kind of data it will actually have. So what we are actually doing from the beginning, if there are no shapes at all, whenever we are clicking, that simply means we are clicking on no, this is not gonna be right. Even if I click on an empty space and there is no shape, should we return? If there are no shape, so there might be one. I mean, yeah, that's right. I have to just go on like this. Then I'm gonna be getting the selected shape. Once I got the selected shape, I'm checking the hit value, setting the value in here as well. Lastly, if I clicked on shift and all, so this thing is gonna happen. If I didn't click on shift and if I did not hit the shape as well, this logic will run. If I hit the shape, then this is gonna be running. Now once I hit the shape, that simply means there can be one or many, especially in this particular case, as the shift was not clicked, there's gonna be only one. So coming back to this, if I have many shapes in here, and just a sec. Alrighty, I hope everything's audible. So if I have these three shapes and come on, what is this now? It turns out we actually have many things in here. Delete them. What else? Or even better, let's just simply keep them where they were. Yeah, this is better. So if I selected many shapes, now if I click only only one is gonna be selected, so it doesn't really matter. If I don't click on shift, we are gonna be back to one shape, and that is why we are just simply having the hit shape over here. That's gonna be sort of the preview shape. We are getting the bounce of that particular shape, and once that is done, then alrighty, let's just simply continue. So what I was just simply saying, that we'll get the handle in here. Once we got the handle, so get the size handle, and we'll check if we actually have the handle or not. If we don't have the handle, that simply means we just clicked, and that simply means that is just simply a select. If we have the handle, we might be resizing that, as simple as that. So that's what we have to focus on. So going ahead, interaction current, that's fine. Current is this, as for the previews, there's gonna be only one preview, and this is gonna be that. As for the bounce for get bounding box, so I'm gonna be getting the bounce for that particular shape. That is fine. Now it's not just about bounce, because we'll have two levels of bounce, top level and bottom level. So don't we need to store that? We have two types. We have two types of bounce in here. We have this top level bounce, and we have this. So as we have all the preview shapes, using that we can calculate should we calculate or should we save? So let's see, just a minute. Copy paste. Should I calculate the bounds, because there are two, top level if many are selected and bottom level not selected. Should I calculate the bounds, or I should store both in interaction. Right. Let's see what it says. I would not store both. I'd store one canonical bounds objects. What does this mean? In the interaction instance, and derive whichever represents you, representation you need. For a production editor, there are really two concepts: group bounds, bounding box of all the selected shapes, and individual shape bounds, computed from each preview when needed. For example, yeah, that's right. So the resize handles are based on the group bounds. Now there are different things. If I'm actually clicking shift, so many shapes are going to be selected, and in that case I'll actually have to resize, so group resize ultimately. Each individual shape still has its own bounds internally, but you can compute those from its preview shape. That's right, whenever you need them. So we are actually gonna be storing the group bounds in here. You say that's not bad either. So group bounds are actually going to be stored. Okay. Again same. You generally don't need a group bounds at the same time. One shape is selected, bounds simply represents the shape's bounds. So selected shape is gonna be this bounds. If multiple shapes are selected, bounds represent the group bounding box. Selected shape will be this union bounds, and we are gonna be getting the union. Okay, congratulations, it's great one. Coming back to this, this bound, it should actually be group bounds. So whenever we select, so we are gonna be having the group bounds in here. So group bounds, group bounds. So we'll have initial group bounds and we'll have group bounds. We'll see. And that is it. Node here. Copy and paste. And that is it. Now if I give this thing to the AI, can you make it better? Because let's make it as much better as possible. Make it better. Because at the end of the day we have to change the code. So as we have to change the code, why not change it for something better? This is already a solid direction of blah blah blah. You can refactor those shared this time. Interaction selection. Okay, fine. We have the preview shape, we have the interaction selection, that will have the preview and this, and okay. So what we are doing, we are simply adding it in there. This sort of simplifies it a bit more. One additional improvement I'd recommend, instead of preview shape and this, consider export type preview shape is gonna be equals to the shape. Shape already has the ID. So if I'm having the, what kind of ID is this going to be? This is going to be the ID of the shape, right? Shape already has the ID. Consider this and this. previews the object. The reason is that shape almost certainly already contains an ID. If that's true, storing ID separately duplicates the information. That's right. So preview shape, okay fine. What it is saying that, let's just simply paste it in here. Coming back to this, storing ID here doesn't really make any sense. That simply means when it comes to preview shape, so I'll have it like this, shape and this, and then we have previews in here. That's just simply gonna be nothing but an array of shapes. So we have this, we have the previews, that's nothing but the array of the shapes. We have the bounds, that's gonna be selected. Now this is crazy. Group bounds, but it will always be the same. Selected shape bounds, selected bounds, let's just simply keep this much. Selected bounds, that should ideally be okay. And at the end of the day, we are definitely gonna be changing the code quite a lot, so we'll anyhow have to go through it. Okay, so we'll have the selected bounds in here. Even if they are group bounds, they are the selected bounds. We have this, we have the type this, and the interaction. Same goes with this one as well. Okay, coming back to this. We are just gonna be having a shape, and the shape is gonna be preview shape. This should be alright. Talking about this bounds in here, where is this coming from? Bounds, it shape. What it does, it returns the bounds, as simple as that. If it actually returns the maximum and minimum values, ultimately all the bounds. So what is the problem in here? Bounds does not exist in this, so the type is not the same. Group bounds, selected shapes, so the bounds that we are getting that doesn't have the right type. Coming back to this one, I have to remove it from here. The type is gonna be selected bounds, because it can be bound of a shape or shapes, both. Okay, seems to be alright. It is still okay. This should be group bounds. So quite tricky stuff, but okay, let's keep it simple. Try to keep it simple. What else? If I don't have any resize handle, and if I have only one shape, so I clicked on a shape, because if I clicked on many, so these could have run. They did not, so I clicked only on one shape or an empty screen. So once I actually have the, even if I click on an empty screen, this particular section should be running, so that is also fine. That simply means I clicked on a shape, and that to only one shape. So I got the preview shape, I got the bounds. Once I got the bounds, I tried checking the resize handle, that okay, wherever I clicked, whether I clicked on a handle or not. And if I did not click on any handle, that simply means now that's just gonna be selected. When it comes to previews, so there's gonna be only one preview shape in that, and that's sort of fine as well. Group bounds are gonna be bounds, so bounds for a shape. We are gonna be invalidating this. So invalidate means it just simply renders them, and here we are. Okay, so far so good. but this is one more thing, bro. I have to change the logic of rendering them. We will focus on that. That's extremely important. But okay, let's come back to this. The whole logic needs to be changed. If I click on the shape and the hit shape does not exist, what will I do? Okay, so what is the thing that, okay, I selected all, but I clicked, his shape does not exist, and now I don't have any selected shapes. So that's what I'm doing. Set selected shape IDs, that's gonna be empty, and point ref current blah 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 selection box, that's gonna be the type. Start point, I'll have the end point, that's gonna be the same. Invalidate, good stuff. Okay, so that's good as well. Shift key is the interesting part in here. That if I click shift, this, so what is happening in here? As I click, the number of selected shapes increases, and we have to render them anyhow. Wow, and this is insane level of thing. What the hell? What I just did? Oh my god. When you actually start working on such a website, then you see how many things are actually implemented there. Just working on one feature of that. And stuff. Okay, I just clicked something here. This is the most insane thing I've ever seen. I started working on the clone of it, but honestly I didn't even have the idea that it can actually work like this. What the hell? Yeah, alrighty. Yeah. Let's just simply keep these things aside. Such a great feature this is. We can create a group. Once a group is created, what should I do? Just a sec. Let's do one thing. Keep working on this in like many features and all, and probably this is gonna be the last. Probably we can implement this as well. Implementing this is not really a problematic thing, right? Yeah, let's keep working on it. At least for 10 days I'm gonna keep working on this, and in the remaining 10 days I'll get the remaining projects sort of ready to deploy, and then we'll get going. At least I can work on this for 10 days more. Going ahead, but I started discussing. I was somewhere here, and again, when it comes to this website, it has many more features than I ever thought of. But okay, let's see. If I click on shift, I selected the things and all, that is fine. But that's not it, because now we have to change what? We have to change this. So as what can be that? As I keep selecting the shapes, those shapes should become the part of this. So in that case, the selected shapes that I actually have and the shape that I hit, so ultimately it's gonna be sort of like dot 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 selected shapes that I had plus hit dot shape. As simple as that. Now again we have to calculate the ref bounds. It's just as simple as that. Like you have to get all the bounds from these. So ultimately you already have the shape. Get the bounds of those shape, and once you got the bounds of those shape, try to get the max value of them. So gonna ask to just simply create a function. Create a function that what gets the shapes and returns what grouped bounds. Keep in mind. Get group shape. This is fine. Seems to be all right. If you are using preview shape, this preview. What is this using? Shapes. This. If you are using previews, then this is how it's gonna be going on. Both of them are sort of same. Even better items get shape. So it is using generics over here. So whenever we are getting the group bounds, we have to pass the type of the shape that we get, and on the basis of that thing we are gonna be getting the item in here. And then we have get shape, that is nothing but a callback that gets the item and returns the shape. So if I just call this callback anywhere, so is this get shape being called in here or not? So get shape item, so whenever I just call this get shape, it just simply returns the item. Oh, so I actually get the items, and as I pass the item in this, it returns me the shape. So that item is nothing but the shape. Having said that, I don't really need to worry about this. This one is simpler, so let's go with this one as for right now. Using generics even doesn't make any sense as of right now. Later we'll see. So in that case, let's just simply have this in here. Later I'll keep it inside another preview shape we don't have, but we definitely have shape. So inside previews, I'm gonna have shape, not really, I'm gonna have shape directly in there. This is better. So preview is the shape, that's fine, this is fine. This is what's gonna be the return type from here, that's okay. And once that is done, we are looping through all the previews, getting their bounding boxes. Once got their bounding boxes, bounds.x and bounds.y, and the value of wow, this is gonna be min x, this is gonna be min y. So if I want to get the value of minimum x and minimum y, we have to get the minimum value, the most minimum thing, the least. And when it comes to this, so instead of doing this much, we can just simply say bounce.max x and bounce.max y. Will automatically get the max bounce.max y. It's just as simple as that. And once this is done, so I'm actually gonna return what? Min x, min y, max x and max y. But it is definitely gonna be working. So this is the helper function we just created. Again, as per the need, we had to customize it. But if I pass the previews, it is gonna return the top level, that is called grouped bounds. And once we get them, I definitely need to refactor the logic the way I've written. That's the baddest, the worst way ever. But okay, we'll do that later. Selected shapes, and they're gonna be what? They're gonna be this. Preview shapes. They're gonna be this. Once I have the preview shape, I have to get their bounds. Group bounds. That's actually gonna be get group bounds. I need to pass the preview shapes, and the job is done. That simply means this thing is done, this thing is done. The value can be what? Where is this coming from? Nowhere. Let's have preview here. Yes. Group bounds. Gonna pass the value of it. Okay, it might return the null value. That's insane. Coming back to this, it is never gonna return the null value because it might. If the length is 0, then what will it actually return? It should return nothing. So it might be undefined. So yeah, let's have it. And in that case, if not group bounds, in that case I'm simply gonna return. Once I have it, I'm just simply saving it in there, and then that is it, sort of rendering the things. So this seems to be pretty simple, isn't that? But the main problem is that I have to change the logic of this invalidate. This is not ready for handling two types of bounds yet. So that is something yet to be handled though. But never mind. Let's complete the remaining logic, at least of this particular section. So on pointer down, not moving, pointer down, we set this. After that we have to work on this. So resize interaction, so we have to just simply save the value, that's fine. Let me do one thing. Let me copy everything from here, and as per the need we will customize it. If it is right, then no need to worry, but it turns out it is not right. Okay, so what we are doing next? First of all, till here what we did, pretty simple stuff that we've been doing. Well, not really that simple either. It's been trickier and not sure whether it's gonna work or not. So ultimately we got the selected shape. Once we got the selected shape, if the first shape existed and the type was text, so we were just simply sort of setting the timer, setting the time. If we clicked shift, then we did everything related to shift. If we did not click on shift, so we are directly checking whether we hit empty space or not. If we did not hit the empty space, that simply means we hit the shape. If we hit the shape, we have to save the shape so that we can render the previews and all, This is how it just simply goes on. Coming back to this, after that, free drop points, that is fine. That's gonna be point of this. We are just simply saving it in there. Any problem? If the type is equals to free, I'm saving it there, no problem. If the, because we are just simply clicking down, so at that time we need to save some initial states as well. Line, we are doing this, no problem. Problem comes here. Pointer is interaction ref dot current. Type is resize. Really, bro? ID, active shape ID, and the preview shape. I'm not getting, when I have a preview shape, why do I have the active shape ID? Yeah, let's get rid of this. Preview shape, do I need this? Turns out no. Even in case of resize, we need interaction. That simply means we need previews and group bounds. That is first thing, and then we need type, handle, initial group bounds, initial font sizes, free drop points, and all these things. These are the things that we actually need to save in there when we click down. Okay. Coming back to this only. So instead of preview shape, now the question is, bro, where are you getting this preview shape from? Good question. And this preview shape is coming from the top. So if it is actually coming from the top, I did not even click on any resize handle. That means what? That means you clicked on an empty space. No, you clicked on the shape. On the shape. Yeah. So if I did not click on any resize handle, that simply means I clicked on the shape. If I clicked on the shape, if there is a free draw, saving the points. If that is resize state and all, saving the like converting the relative points to the absolute points. Again, what is this? No worries. No, you need to worry. What are we doing? Free draw points, preview points dot map. I'm getting all the points. Once I'm getting all the points, we have px and py over here, and preview shape dot x and preview shape dot y. What is this, bro? The relative distances that we have, that is px and py, they are from points. That simply means relative distances. Okay, so once we have these relative distances, so we are returning an array. Fine. We are adding the preview shape x and preview shape y to that particular distance. So as we are moving, we are just simply changing the value of x and y, and as per that, the distance is actually being calculated. So that's right. Same thing is happening here. We are getting the absolute points. So in line we had this, and then we have to get the absolute points. Inside the absolute points, we are passing preview x, preview shape. Needs to be previews, and that again needs to be array of preview shape. Any problem? Preview shape, I need to have group bounds. As for group bounds, it turns out that we don't have here. I calculated, but they were calculated only for shift, these two things. So if we actually hit something, forget about this, let's copy paste it. Later we'll ask AI to just simply refactor this. So this is better in the sense, we if we actually had the selected shape, why would we be doing this? The previews, why is this code gonna run this part? Because I clicked on an empty space, as simple as that. I clicked on the shape, and once I clicked on the shape, there could be possibility that other shapes exist? There's no possibility, because if I'm not clicking shift, so even if all of them are selected, and if I'm not clicking, first of all I need to ungroup it. Ungroup. किधर गए हो? Yeah. So suppose this all is selected, if I just directly click, only one is selected, as simple as that. So I'm just simply gonna be getting only one shape, and previews we already had. So when it comes to getting the, here we are gonna have only one shape, that is for show. So what I'll do that, group bounds, instead of sending the previews over there, I'm gonna send an array of preview shape. What will this group bound do? It will go there, it will get the preview shape, it will run, it will get the value, it will return, as simple as that. So we are gonna be getting the bounds shape, group bounds. So that is also done, and don't worry about restructuring it. We can pass it to the AI to get it done. Initial bounds, that should actually be initial group bounds, and they are gonna be the same as well. So initial group bounds, and that's gonna be group bounds, and the value of it is not gonna be changing. Now the preview shape that we actually haven't tested out, we just have the preview shape. Yeah, we do have it, and it's just that initial font size does not exist. So what exists? Initial font sizes, yeah, X and Y. Initial font sizes doesn't make any sense. How can we initial font sizes shapes? We need to have the string and the number. String is gonna be nothing but the ID. Wow, amazing. This is right. Suppose this is it. Now if we select both, here we are. They actually have their own font sizes as we are rendering them. So yeah, we do need to have the font sizes as well. Free drop points, they need to have their own free drop points. That is also right. Again string in this, line resize state, again this is also gonna be like that. Crazy stuff. Probably it is gonna be the most complex thing I'm ever gonna be doing on this project. Previous things they have been simpler, but once done it will not be problematic, right? So coming back to this, the same thing needs to be done for styling as well. Like when we click shift, suppose we did not click shift, in that case initial, this is done, font sizes, and initial font size is gonna be what? This is actually gonna be an object. Then needs to be ID is gonna be what? ID is gonna be preview shape.id. That's gonna be this, but this will not work. So as per the type of this, we have to have a string and a number. Now what can be that string and what can be that number? This should definitely be this, but I think I need to use this way, and this is gonna be the ID, this is gonna be the this is gonna be an array. This is just a record, that simply means an object. Expected comma for what? Is this I don't think so. Let me have the example. Okay, can you give me example of it? It is sort of the same the way I was trying to do it. So why was I getting the error? This thing I was trying to do. Suppose this, but we are getting the error here. So if we just have something like ID in here, ID in here, wow, still getting that. That's mainly because of this. So trim, not this. Preview shape.id. Preview shape type text, font size is gonna be preview shape.font size, otherwise this. Now what is the problem? It doesn't have any call signature. Can we just simply call it directly? Preview shape.id. No. Preview shape.id. No. So what else? What am I supposed to be doing in that case? An ID will have a value. What next? Preview shape ID. Preview shape.id. Okay. But at the end of the day, this is just gonna be a value. This is what I wanted. Preview shape.id. It won't be problematic. Yeah. So here we are. Initial font sizes. This is only when we are clicking only on one shape. So at that time it's gonna be like this. And same with the free draw points. When it comes to free draw points, preview shape.id, free draw points, and I need to make sure that they do exist. We'll definitely have to take the help of AI, but AI will not be able to do the job in a better way unless it has some idea as to what I want to do. So once we write the code, it will get the idea, and then on top of that it will work. So free draw points, I think point tuple, it can definitely be undefined. In that case, if I have the free draw points, only then I'm going to be having this, but I don't have undefined. Still problematic. Undefined is not assignable to point tuple. Free draw points, what's the type? This is the type. Great. Sorry, this, no problem. Then the key and the value. This undefined. it should not be problematic, but we'll see. Lastly, we have line resize state, and it should actually be states here as per the new changes, because we are working on many. Never expected that I would have to take care of these many things. I honestly thought it would be simple, just you have to draw a rectangle and just simply render that. Then freed if line resize state exists, in that case this, otherwise it's gonna be undefined. Okay, passing undefined is the problem. Okay. So it can just have that value. That is it. Passing the value directly. What am I doing? Preview shape ID, why did I have it here? Having said that, undefined nope. Point tuple, free draw points. That's a better way. I'm gonna do it this way only, and not that way, just this way. Same for this, but these values are gonna be saved conditionally, so both the values that I have here. So if I have I need to save them conditionally. Free draw points, if I have them, it will not work. Great. So what's the next thing that I have left? Yeah, this one. So free draw points, if I have them, then only this. Okay, it worked. So if I have this value, only then this is gonna be saved in there, and if I have line resize states, only then the value is gonna be saved. The only problematic thing is that where is this coming from now? Line resize states, and it turns out this should be this. Now it should be only state, doesn't need to be states anymore, at least till now. So it can be, if it exists, then I'm going to be saving the value, coming back to this initial font size. So if I have what's the problem with this initial font sizes? There are gonna be many shapes, and I'll have to have the idea of what font sizes of them. So going ahead like this is compulsory, but it is telling me that did you mean to write font size? Why? Because I changed it in here now. String number undefined is not assignable to this. Undefined is not assignable to type number. This undefined is not assignable to type number. Interesting. So number. Can I have null? Null cannot be there either. So what can be there? Just string and a number. And if that does not exist, so this doesn't exist either. If it actually exists, right? So if I have preview shape dot type, that's equals to text as expected here, and if I have preview shape dot font size, again no doubt this code can be better, the focus is not on that. I'm not getting a way to just simply get it. Initial font size, if I don't have, then I don't have to add this. It is expecting the ID as a number. That's insane. How can ID be a number? We are not storing that as like that. So even as we have the ID, so let me change the type. That's gonna be we have a string everywhere. So if we have a string everywhere, that should be working. But the ID, that is also a string. Okay, font size is actually gonna be number that side. So that is equals to text 2. It turns out that whatever we just have here, that gets assigned. That's insane in that case. So end will not work here because the value of that is getting assigned in there. So we have to just simply add the font size if that exists. If nothing, then okay, no problem. Or 20 by default. Let's keep it like we're gonna be doing as for right now. The simplest thing to just simply resolve this is this, that line resize states. Now what is the type of this? Is this an object? What is this? And if I modify start and end, that's great. Start and end. And at the end of the day, that is start. I think null will not work. We'll have to set it to 0 0. Again, this is really bad. I'm just simply checking it out right now. Later we'll fix it. And it worked. We may have to change the types, or will changing the type work here? Pointer states, they are first of all optional, and if I'm adding them, I need to add them well. Okay, we can just simply fix this, get it fixed by the AI. What else? We'll see exactly how it actually fixes that, but fix this. So there's a lot, but at least this particular section seems to be alright. Again, we have to get it fixed by the AI, and once that is done, then we'll continue. As for right now, I'm just simply gonna take a break for some time. It's already been around 2 hours. After some time, I'll be back, and then continue from here on. We'll work on it for a few hours again, and this is how it will just simply keep going on. Bye bye, and I'm gonna be catching up by 4:30 or something again. See you.